What's up guys, it's the Hockey Radar tracking drafts and prospects, and in today's video I'm going over 3 more of my favorite prospects. If you haven't seen the first video, make sure to go check it out in my page, along with tons of other prospect content. Starting off with player number 1, a player I have talked about extensively in my other videos, Cole Hudson, number 44 from Boston University, and draft pick of the Washington Capitals. At 19 years old, Cole is a 5'11", 170-pound left shot defenseman who was picked all the way in the second round, 43rd overall by the Caps in 2024, and is currently unsigned as he will play the upcoming season for Boston University in his sophomore season. And I wonder if he'll get the Ryan Leonard treatment and sign and play late in the 2025-26 NHL season and join either the Caps or the Hershey Bears for a playoff run. Cole is a very smooth skating, smooth stick handling, offensively minded defenseman who has shades of Lane Hudson and a little bit of Quinn Hughes, although his ceiling is not as high, but he plays with that same level of shiftiness and cool under pressure that those two players possess. He has represented Team USA at multiple international tournaments, although his dad would point out that he has dual nationality, referring to the interesting interview his dad gave after Lane was not invited to USA orientation. Anyways, on the international stage, Cole has a gold medal at the U17s and the U18s, being a 2-time tournament all-star, and a gold medal at the World Junior Championships in 2025, being on the tournament all-star team and leading the tournament in points with 3 goals and 11 points in 7 games. In the college world, he was an NCAA East first All-American team in his freshman season, putting up an insane 14 goals, 34 assists for 48 points in 39 games, the same amount of points as Lane did in his college freshman season, and Cole tied with Zeev Buium for most points by an NCAA defenseman. Like I said, he plays with confidence and he looks very nonchalant with his skating and puck handling, yet he makes incredible plays. Coming in from the blue line, he has the hands to beat the forward and move into the slot for a shot. He is very deceptive with the puck, looking to shoot and then dishing off to the flank for a one-timer and an open net. He skates very well with his head up the whole way, always looking for passes back door or for the open man in the slot. He has a great shot from the point. It's not always the hardest, but it's accurate and he can snipe it when he has space. He can take the puck deep into the zone and skate circles in the O-zone looking for a pass. Just needs to make sure he won't get caught too deep with no one covering the point. I would love to see him round out his game this year and avoid becoming a one-dimensional player, kind of like his brother to a certain extent, as that seems to be the main reason for the lack of invite to the USA orientation, as the US already have offensive puck movers in Hughes and Werenski. I see Cole putting up 16 goals, 37 assists for 53 points in 39 or so games this year, and being in the competition for the Hobey Baker. He will also be the focal point for the American team in the World Junior Championships this year, along with James Higgins, as their much weaker looking team looks to defend their title, and both players will need to put up the same, if not better, numbers to beat out the heavy Canadian favorites. I think teams continue to undervalue the smallish defenseman type player, and while we have seen some flame out at the NHL level, there are many who have gotten over their size disadvantage and proven to be impactful NHLers. I truly do not see Cole as a flame out type player, and I really think he can translate his game to the NHL level, especially if he can get into the lineup either this year or next, and get to learn from guys like John Carlson and Jacob Chychrun in the Caps lineup. He has great poise. Even in the biggest of games, the nerves don't get to him as he shows up and impacts the game to a point where it's impossible to think that he can't be an impactful offensive defenseman in the NHL. I'm not sure how much potential there is for his defensive game unless we can see some growth this year with BU, but in terms of him as an offensive guy, he could definitely run a power play and put up 45 to 50 point seasons in his career. In all, everything he has done to this point, playing in older age groups, playing as a rookie, playing on the international stages, all while being an undersized guy, he has found a way to continue to put up points, continue to impact the game, and therefore he has given me no reason to think that he cannot do this at the NHL level. And I think when we look back at his draft 5 to 7 years from now, we will be scratching our heads wondering how he was left until midway through the second round. Player number 2, Matthew Savoie of the Edmonton Oilers. At 21 years old, he's getting to the older side in terms of being a prospect, and he was the 9th overall pick by the Sabres back in 2022 and traded for Ryan McLeod at last year's offseason. And while the trade favors the Sabres right now, I think Savoie has the potential to tip the balance into Edmonton's favor, or at least get it back to 50-50. Savoie is a right shot forward who has played center the past few years, but I would project him more as a winger at the NHL level, at least for his first couple seasons, especially considering the Oilers' center depth. He is 5'9", 180 pounds, and this may be the major reason why many don't have Savoie ranked as highly as before, as it is very hard for forwards of that size to impact NHL games. He is a very productive forward in the O-zone with great stick handling, speed, and hockey IQ. In the WHL, he put up 2 90-point seasons and then a monster 71 points in 34 games in the 23-24 season, and would suit up for Canada at the World Junior Championships, wearing an A and putting up 1 assist. This past year, he played 4 games with the Oilers, notching 1 assist, and spent the rest of the year in the AHL with the Condors, putting up 19 goals, 35 assists for 54 points in 66 games as a rookie. Like I said, he has a great offensive mind, great hands in the O-zone to get around defenders, and in tight to beat the goalie. He has great vision, projecting primarily as a playmaker, but also has a smart shot as he put up almost 20 goals in the AHL last season. He is very useful on the power play as he plays with poise and scans the zone looking to make plays, and he's also great on the rush, shooting on the move, or finding open teammates in the slot. This season, I expect him to get a shot with the Oilers, especially with their loss of depth the last few off-seasons and their need for a punch of youth in their lineup along with Isaac Howard. In a top 6/middle 6 role, I could see him putting up 35 to 40 points as a rookie, a stat line like 15 goals, 22 assists for 37 points in a full season, and if he gets get some power play time on the second unit, maybe a few more points there. But overall, I could see Savoie having a fairly successful rookie campaign on a team who will win a ton of games and whose goal is to win the Stanley Cup. Like I mentioned with Cole Hudson, NHL teams are undervaluing the undersized players, and we have seen some smaller forwards find success in the NHL, like the Cole Caulfields and Logan Stankovens of the league, who both come in at 5'7". Savoie could be another example of this, and I think if he sticks to the wing to avoid getting exposed as an undersized rookie center, and if he can play with a skilled and responsible center like Leon or Nuge, or maybe even McDavid, Savoie can overcome his height disadvantage and showcase his immense skill that he very obviously possesses. A main reason why many are calling the Savoie trade a Buffalo win is because Savoie has taken longer than expected to make it at the NHL level, but I think if he can stick with the Oilers all year and if he can get around 40 or so points and show that he can make an impact despite his size, many will be reconsidering who won the trade. Player number 3, Beckett Seneca of the Anaheim Ducks. The 19-year-old right-shot winger who can play either side went 3rd overall back in 2024 and shocked everyone, including himself and his family, leading to a funny clip of his reaction at the draft. He is already a whopping 6'4", 195 pounds, obviously a big frame who has skill, which is a recipe for success in the NHL, and he joins a big depth chart in Anaheim with 6'3" Karlsson and 6'6" Roger McQueen. Seneca is a solid playmaker who has great hands and put up highlight reel plays in his OHL career. In his draft year, he put up 68 points in 63 games, not eye-popping numbers, which is why it was a shock that he was taken at 3rd. However, I have mentioned this before, the Ducks at the time had several top prospects in their team with McTavish, Karlsson, Gauthier, Mintyukov, and Zellweger, that they were in a position where they could afford to leave some talent on the table and pick a positional need, picking up a big-framed winger in Beckett Seneca. He followed up his draft season with 86 points in 56 games and a massive 32 points in 18 playoff games, losing out in the OHL Finals to the London Knights. In terms of international representation, he does not have much aside from one appearance for Canada at U17s. He was one of the biggest names left off of last year's World Junior Championship roster, which Canada ended with a disappointing result, and I think if he doesn't stick with the NHL this year, he should be one of their top players at the 2026 tournament. He is a very skilled playmaker who uses his size to protect the puck, as he's hard to knock off the puck, especially in the OHL, and he has great hands, probably his biggest factor, as he puts up highlight reel moves around defenders and goalies, and due to his height, he has a great reach with his stick to allow him to go side to side and reach around the goalie to put the puck in the net. He also has a decent snapshot and one-timer that could translate to the NHL. His skating is decent, he could get good speed, but just looks a little awkward, and I think if he doesn't make the NHL this season, it'll probably be because the skating isn't quite there yet, because the rest of his game, like his hockey IQ, sure is. It's honestly hard to say where Seneca will play this season. I assume he starts with the Ducks, maybe plays the 9 games, and then goes back to the OHL. He has yet to have an explosive 100-point season in the juniors, so I would expect him to put up numbers like that if he were to be sent down. Maybe like 42 goals, 61 assists for 103 points in the OHL, as he would be one of the top players in the league due to his age, skill set, and the fact that many players have made the switch over to the NCAA. Unfortunately, this is something he doesn't have the option for due to signing his entry-level contract, and the AHL is not an option, as the new ruling where one 19-year-old can play in the AHL will not take effect until 2026-27. In the off chance he plays with the Ducks full year, I could see him playing on a 3rd line with Michael Granlund or Ryan Strome, especially if McTavish sits out, they would need some skill to replace him. If that's the case, I could see him putting up a 30 to 35 point rookie season, maybe around 10 goals, 24 assists for 34 points in a full NHL year. I think a lot of people just think of Seneca as a 3rd overall pick who hasn't really lived up to it, but in reality he shouldn't have gone as high as 3rd, so he's unfairly dealing with the 3rd overall type of expectations, and his skill and potential is still extremely high. He could be a top 6 forward in a few years. I think he's one of the better prospects in the league, and with the combination of his frame and skill, I think he will surprise a lot of people, and maybe eventually live up to the expectations of being a 3rd overall selection. That's all I have for now. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment your thoughts down below, and stay tuned for another 2026 Draft Series video this Saturday, and tons of other prospect content to come.